When the Mavs traded for Kyrie Irving, they managed to put together two of the most talented and creative shot creators in basketball. In theory, the trade improved the team. The Mavs desperately needed to get Luka more help on offense, but instead of making a playoff push, the Kyrie trade resulted in Dallas failing to even make the play-in tournament. Luka and Kyrie both thrived in the 16 games they played together. The problem was the supporting cast around the duo was too weak for them to be competitive. The Mavs front office did a great job of identifying the weaknesses on the team and adding players to make the team better. They had a great draft, selecting Dereck Lively II and Olivier-Maxence Prosper while also picking up Richaun Holmes on draft night. And they made other savvy acquisitions like getting Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and Dante Exum. Dallas may have been an embarrassment last season, but after the moves they made this summer, they're dark horse title contenders. Before I discuss how these offseason additions improved the Mavericks, let's briefly discuss why the superstar pairing failed last season. Many fans theorized that the Kyrie and Luka partnership didn't work due to the star duo's inability to complement each other. You know, the typical "there's only one ball" argument. But in reality, the Mavs' biggest issue was on the other side of the court. Kyrie was able to fit alongside Luka just fine, and the Mavs' offense was very good all year, ranking 6th in offensive rating. And even after the Mavs traded for Kyrie, they ranked 9th in offensive rating from the time they traded for him to the end of the season. Kyrie and Luka are both really good outside shooters, which allows them to space the floor for each other. The problem with the Mavs was the defensive end, where they ranked towards the bottom of the league at just 25th in defensive rating. The Mavs had a lot of problems defensively, but their biggest issue was on the interior. They were horrible at protecting the paint, giving up the 11th most points in the paint per game in the league, and they were abysmal on the defensive glass, where they ranked just 27th in defensive rebounds per game. The Mavericks' weakness on the inside was largely due to not having a great defensive big man. Dwight Powell puts in effort, but his lack of length makes him a poor rim protector. He tries out there, but he's only got a 6'11" wingspan, and those T-Rex arms makes it tough for him to contest shots at the rim. JaVale McGee was once a good defensive big, but he's old and slow now, causing him to struggle to contest shots at the rim. Christian Wood is a good offensive player, but he's also a weak defender, which is largely why Dallas had him coming off the bench and why he's still unemployed a month into free agency. With inadequate interior defenders, the Mavs were giving up inside buckets way too easily. And even when they did force opponents to miss, they couldn't secure defensive rebounds, leading to opposing teams getting offensive rebounds and extra possessions. After watching the Mavs fall way short of expectations, Mavs GM Nico Harrison got to work upgrading the team, with the main goal improving Dallas's defense and rebounding. On draft night, the Mavs upgraded their center rotation, first by selecting Dereck Lively II with the 12th overall pick in the draft. We'll get to Lively in just a second. The biggest move by Dallas on draft night was trading for Richaun Holmes from the Kings. Richaun Holmes is one of the most underrated pickups of the offseason in my opinion. He went largely under the radar last season. For years, he was the Kings starting center, but after Sacramento acquired the now 3-time All-Star Domantas Sabonis, his minutes on the team were greatly reduced. To see Holmes' true value, we have to look at the prior 3 seasons. He put up good numbers in 3 years as the Kings starting center, with his best season being in the 2020-21 year, where he averaged 14 points, 8 boards, and nearly 2 blocks in 29 minutes per game. Holmes is going to provide Dallas some much needed rim protection. He's only about 6'9", but he's got a long 7'2" wingspan, which helps him to block and alter shots at the rim. Holmes is also a good rebounder, which should improve the Mavericks on a defensive glass. He should improve the Mavs defense, but I also expect Holmes to be a plus on the offensive end as well. Holmes is a good screen setter and a dangerous scorer as a roll man. He's a great lob target, largely thanks to his leaping ability, but he's not only limited to dunks and layups. He's also got a really nice floater game. Overall, Holmes should provide a lot of value to the Mavs on both ends of the court. Now let's discuss Dereck Lively II. He's got an incredible physical profile at 7'1", With an enormous 7'7" wingspan, those insane physical tools made him a great shot blocker and also a strong rebounder, but he did struggle with fouls his lone year at Duke, going for shot fakes way too often instead of forcing defenders to finish over his size and length. For Dallas, he could give them a much needed enforcer in the paint off the bench in the short term with the potential to be the Mavs starting center in the long term. Acquiring Richaun Holmes also allowed the Mavericks to get the draft rights to Olivier-Maxence Prosper, a 6'8" wing out of Marquette. With this pick, the Mavericks got themselves another strong defensive player. At Marquette, he was a great man-to-man defender, and his size, length, and agility gave him the ability to defend multiple positions. His offensive game is limited, but he should be ready to provide a defensive impact for the Mavericks day one. The Mavericks had an amazing draft night, but they also made some savvy pickups during free agency. One of their best moves was trading for Grant Williams. Prior to the trade, Williams was a valuable role player for a contending Boston Celtics team for years. He's an excellent defender and a knockdown shooter, draining just under 40% of his threes last season. He's the perfect type of player the Mavericks need in the lineup next to Luka and Kyrie. A low usage player that'll space the floor for the Mavericks on offense while also defending the other team's best player. I could easily see Grant Williams starting for Dallas next season. Another move the Mavs made was signing Dante Exum. Exum was the number 5 overall pick back in the 2014 draft. Many scouts thought he had a high upside, but injuries and his offensive limitations caused him to be a bust and flame out of the league in just 7 seasons. But it looks like he's revived his basketball career overseas. Over the past 2 years, his outside shooting has really improved. This past year, Exum shot 42% from deep in 33 EuroLeague games. Now, the EuroLeague three-point line is slightly shorter than the NBA three-point line, but if he can at least be respectable from deep in the NBA, then this is a good addition for the Mavs. Exum already proved to be a good perimeter defender in his first stint in the NBA. His size, length, and speed make him an excellent point of attack defender. If he can knock down the catch and shoot looks from deep in the NBA, then he can be a nice rotation piece for Dallas. Another good move was signing Seth Curry. Seth is one of the best shooters in NBA history, ranking 6th all-time in career three-point percentage at 43%. He's a knockdown shooter that should feast off the open looks that his star teammates will create for him. With these off-season pickups, the Mavs have completely upgraded this roster. They not only have surrounded their star duo with even more shooting, but with much needed defensive pieces. This is definitely an improved team on paper, but now let's discuss their key young players, starting with Jaden Hardy. Hardy was the 37th pick in last year's draft, and he proved to be a steal. At the start of the regular season, Hardy didn't get much burn, but towards the end of the season, Jason Kidd started to increase his minutes, and Hardy absolutely produced in the time he was given. In the month of March, Hardy averaged 15 points and 3 assists per game on incredible shooting splits, shooting 45% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. Jaden Hardy is already a legit scorer, with the ability to make in shots from all 3 levels of the court. He showed a lot of promise in his rookie year, and it's going to be interesting to see how much better he gets in his second year. Hardy could potentially be one of the top off-the-bench scorers in the NBA for the Mavs next season. Now let's discuss Josh Green. He became a valuable rotation piece for the Mavs last season. He was one of the better shooters on the team, knocking down 40% of his three-pointers, and he's also a solid defender. Green is a good 3-and-D player, but he still needs to keep improving offensively in terms of driving and finishing. If Josh Green and Jaden Hardy can both make a leap next year, then this Mavs team will be even more dangerous. Lastly, I want to discuss Luka because even though he's the face of the team, he also needs to keep improving. It sounds weird criticizing someone coming off a season averaging 32, 8, and 8, but it's well documented that Luka's lack of conditioning is one of his biggest flaws. He's been known to come into training camp out of shape, reportedly showing up weighing 260 pounds, 30 pounds more than his listed weight of 230. Luka's poor conditioning often made him gassed and unable to dominate fourth quarters. He ranked second in the NBA in points per game last season behind Embiid, but just 24th in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring, where his efficiency would drop from 49% to 46%. He's also too often a non-factor on defense, which is likely also tied to his poor condition. The Mavs front office asked Luka to lose weight, and so far, it looks like Luka is committed to getting in better shape, as he's reportedly hired a nutritionist to help him eat healthier. Luka is already a great player, but coming into this upcoming season in better shape should make him deadlier in fourth quarters and hopefully more committed on the defensive end. Summing things up, the Mavs look like they've turned what looked like a hopeless situation not too long ago completely around. The offseason pickups they've made have improved the team, and if their young players continue developing, that'll make this Mavs team even better. On top of that, Luka has committed to getting in better shape, and Luka and Kyrie will be going into next season with better chemistry. Most fans probably aren't looking at the Mavs as a title contender, but this is a team that certainly can contend if enough things go in their favor. But what do you think? Are the Dallas Mavericks legit title contenders? Let me hear your thoughts down below in the comments section. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more high quality content just like it, please drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next video.